Hi students, welcome back. In our last video, we have discussed about difference between physical change and chemical change, and we have seen few observations of chemical changes. So by reading all those points, easily we can identify which one is physical change and which one is chemical change easily. And today, in this video, we are going to learn about separation of components of a mixture. When two or more substances are combined together, we'll get one mixture. How to separate those mixtures? Is there any separation techniques for those? Yes, we have different techniques to separate those mixtures, and in this video we are going to learn about those different techniques to separate mixtures. This is Arjun. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. First, let us discuss about homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. We know what is meant by homogeneous and what is meant by heterogeneous. If the mixture is completely mixed, finely mixed and thoroughly mixed, it is called homogeneous, and the mixtures which are not mixed thoroughly, if it is not finely mixed, it is called heterogeneous. Now, these heterogeneous mixtures can be separated very easily by few physical methods. What are those few physical methods? In the sense, hand picking, sieving and filtration. These are very simple techniques to separate components from the mixture. We know what is hand picking. In the name itself, we can observe the method in which substances in a mixture can be separated just by picking them out with the help of hand is known as hand picking method. In this picture, you can observe few people, they are using their hands to separate the components of a mixture. Second one, sieving. It is quite simple method which you can observe in your house daily. When your mom is cooking something, if you want to cook some pakoda or etc., you will use some flour and you will use this to separate that flour and dust particles, right? Sieving is defined as a method in which two or more components of different sizes, that is most important point here, different sizes are separated from mixture on the basis of differences in their sizes. Because of the consider we have mixture like big particles, at the same time small particles. When two particles, when these components are passed through this one, automatically small particles will be coming down and big particles will be settling there. That process is known as sieving. This picture also you can observe what is meant by sieving. Next, filtration. We know it is a very simple process by which components can be separated so easily. Consider there is a beaker where there is some mixture, and here we are using a funnel, and inside that funnel we placed filter paper. Because of the filter paper, what are the components we are adding in this one? That residues, that sediments, those particles will be settled here and we'll get pure solution here, and that solution which is filtered is known as filtrate. Next, that is about heterogeneous mixtures. But while coming to homogeneous, what are the separation techniques we have? In this video, you are going to learn about few separation techniques which is used to separate two immiscible liquids. What is meant by immiscible liquids? Liquids which are combined together, which are mixed thoroughly. So completely, if it is mixed and by physical process, if we cannot separate it, that is called immiscible liquids. You see, if we mix glucose powder in water, that will be completely mixed, that is immiscible liquid. Now, there are few techniques: evaporation, centrifugation, separating funnel, sublimation, chromatography, distillation, fractional distillation, and crystallization. In this video, we are going to learn each and everything and what are the processes, what are the methods, and how it's gonna work, we can learn. First, moving to evaporation. Evaporation is a process which is used to separate a solid substance dissolved in liquid. You see, whenever you add solid in liquid, that solid will be dissolved in liquid and we'll get one solution. Now, this solution is combination of solute and solvent. Solute will be solid state, solvent will be liquid state. If you want to remove this, if you want to separate that solute, separate those solid particles, we'll go for evaporation technique. It is based on the fact that liquids vaporizes easily where solids do not. That is a simple logic behind this evaporation. When you heat this solution, this solvent will evaporate and solute remains same. From that we can separate mixture. So separating a mixture of non-volatile and a volatile substance. This evaporation technique is used. And where we can use that one? We can see applications. Separating colored component from ink. In ink, if you want to separate two colors, or if you have added ink in water, so easily we can separate ink and water. Next, salt from sugar. If you are adding salt and water, we'll get salt water. And if you evaporate, if you vaporize it, automatically water will be vaporized and salt remains in the beaker. Like that we can separate salt. Same sugar also. Sugar plus water, if you heat it, water can be evaporated and sugar remains. So what is its method? One experiment you can do it, mix some ink into water and heat it. If you heat that ink and water, after some time, that water will evaporate, leaving behind the colored substance. That colored substance is called dye. Like that you can separate ink from water. Same technique you can use for salt water also. Here you can observe mixture salt and water. If you heat by using Bunsen burner, and this one is known as evaporating dish, automatically that water will be evaporated and the salt will be remaining in the beaker. You can separate. Moving to second separation technique, centrifugation. This method of separating the suspended particles of a substance from liquid, in which the mixture is rotated at high speed in a centrifuge. You see, it is like a mixer where they will place one liquid in which they need to separate high dense particles. This method is useful in case the suspended particles in liquid are too small to be retained by filter paper. You see, if particles are big, easily we can separate those particles by using filtration. But if total solution is passing through the filter paper, if we cannot collect any residues, any particles, any components by using filter paper, this technique is used. And here, denser components of the mixture migrates away from the axis and lighter components migrates towards the axis. In liquids, there will be two types of particles, high dense particles and low dense particles. If you want to separate high dense and low dense, this centrifuge is used. Centrifuge is a machine and this is used to separate dense particles from lighter particles. You can observe the machine. That machine is known as centrifuge. They'll place one test tube inside that, and if they turn on, automatically that machine will rotate with a high speed. Because of the speed rotation, that particles can be separated. That's how our washing machine works. If you observe our washing machine, The last process is rinse. So it will rinse it, and where that centrifuge, that drum rotates with greater speed such that water particles can be removed from cloth. So centrifuge, the device can spin, which can rapidly spin. That is the machine. Applications where we can use that centrifugation. If you want to separate cream from milk, you can use this centrifuge. If you want to separate cream from butter, such that butter can be extracted, again if you heat that butter, automatically butter becomes ghee. From buttermilk you can extract butter, butter can be converted into ghee. To extract this butter, we will churn it. That churning is also known as centrifugation. Next, squeezing out water from wet cloths in washing machine. This centrifuge is used. What is the principle behind centrifugation? It is quite simple. When a mixture is rotated very fast, if the mixture which is rotated very fast, automatically denser particles are forced to go to the bottom of the centrifuge and lighter particles stay at the top. So consider there will be a solution where we have high dense particles and at the same time low dense particles. When it is centrifuged, automatically after some time you can observe in beaker all heavy particles will be settled at the bottom and all light particles will be settled on top. Like that, butter can be collected. That is how centrifuge works. And method, if you want to try it, you can try. Milk is put in centrifuging machine or milk churner and cream thus separate from the milk. You can take a bowl, you can ask your mom to churn a buttermilk, have some buttermilk in a vessel, take the churner, you can churn it. Automatically after some time you can observe light particles from the buttermilk. That is, butter can be extracted out. You can try this one. Well, coming to another technique, separating funnel. It is quite simple and easy to understand. To separate two immiscible liquids, you see here we are taking two liquids which are not mixed. Immiscible liquids you are taking like oil and water. If you take oil and water, both oil and water will not be mixed and oil cannot be mixed with water. So if you take this machine and if you pour, you can observe this diagram. Here we have a separating funnel where we have added two liquids. First one has low density which will be floating up. Second one has a high density which will be settling at the bottom. There will be some tap, there will be some key to open. After opening, that total liquid will be falling down. You can collect in a beaker, and then if this liquid comes out, this low density liquid will be coming here. You can close the tap such that high density liquid can be collected separate and low density liquids can be collected separate. That is a very simple technique where you can use that separating funnel technique. Next, principle. What is the principle behind that? When two mixtures of immiscible liquids is kept in separating funnel, automatically the liquids separate out in layers. If you take beaker and if you add water and oil, that water will be settled at the bottom and that oil will be floating up. You can observe there will be layer. Oil will have one layer and water will have another layer, and these liquids separate out in layers depending on their densities. Water has high density, oil has low density. Like that we can separate it. Applications in our daily life where we can apply. Oil from water. If you want to separate oil from water, we can use this separating funnel machine to separate it. And iron ore. In the extraction of iron from its ore, where the lighter slag, we can call it as molten waste material, is removed from the top by to leave the molten iron at the bottom of blast furnace. Blast furnace is a machine where we will heat that iron, and if you heat that iron, automatically there will be lighter particles and heavier particles. That iron will melt. Molten iron is nothing but iron which is melt, which will be at the bottom and lighter slag will be on top. Like that easily can be removed pure iron from impurities. Method: if you want to use this one in your daily life, you can do this one. The immiscible liquids are allowed to settle in the funnel. They soon form separating layer due to varying densities. So you can take one glass, you can add some water and oil. If you mix, take a spoon and mix it and leave it for 5 to 10 minutes, automatically you can observe total oil will be coming to the top and water will be settling down, and easily you can separate it. And of course, if you don't have separating funnel, just you can pour this liquid slowly such that you can separate oil and water. Next process is sublimation. While coming to this sublimation, to separate sublimable component from non-sublimable component, it is transition of substance from solid phase to gaseous phase. When solid is directly converting into gas, that is known as sublimation. Here sublimable component in the sense component which can be converted from solid to gas, non-sublimable component in the sense component which cannot convert from solid to gas without changing into liquid phase. So in between solid and gas there will be liquid, and that solid will be directly converted into gas without converting into liquid state. This method is used to separate those components from mixture which can sublime on heating. We'll try to understand by seeing this experiment. Take one china dish first. Take one china dish, and accidentally if you have mixed ammonium chloride salt, and if you take that ammonium chloride salt and if you heat by using Bunsen burner, automatically you can observe that vapors of ammonium chloride will be coming out from the ammonium chloride salt. Vapors will be coming out, and that vapor, again here you are using some cotton plug and you have taken inverted funnel. Basically funnel will be like this, and you can invert this funnel for doing this experiment, and that vapors of ammonium chloride will rise up and it will stick to the walls of a funnel. After sticking it, you can cool it to make ammonium chloride. Like that easily you can separate solid to gas, and that solidified ammonium chloride you can collect it here. That is the concept where you need to understand about sublimation. Salt which is heated, which is converted from solid to gas. Here solid state directly will be converted into liquid state, that is called sublimation, where you can collect this ammonium chloride salts. Application: in our daily life where we can use this sublimation process. If you want to get ammonium chloride or camphor, naphthalene and salts, you can use this sublimation technique to separate it. And iron can be separated from a mixture of iron fillings and camphor. So if there is a mixture of camphor and iron fillings, just if you heat, that camphor will be evaporated and iron fillings will be left. Common salt can be separated from mixture of salt and ammonium chloride. This is the experiment where you need to understand ammonium chloride plus salt. If you mix both, if ammonium chloride and salt both are mixed together, how to separate ammonium chloride and how to separate salt. Like this, if you heat, total ammonium chloride will be raised up and only salt will be left, and ammonium chloride after becoming liquid. If it is cooling, automatically here it will become solid. So here you can collect ammonium chloride, here you can collect salt, like that can be separated. And naphthalene balls undergo sublimation. That is the example where you can observe in your daily life method. So what experiment we can do? Heat the mixture in an inverted funnel so that sublimable component sublimes in the air and settled over the walls of the funnel, and non-sublimable component on the other hand is left behind. Here if you observe, we have ammonium chloride and salt. Ammonium chloride plus salt. In that, ammonium chloride is sublimable, salt is non-sublimable. So ammonium chloride will be sublimate and that ammonium chloride will be settled at walls of the beaker, that is sublimable substances, and salt is non-sublimable. If you heat salt, nothing will happen for the salt, just it will settle in the beaker itself. That's what you can do it. Well, coming to another method, chromatography. What is chromatography? This method is used to separate two or more dissolved solids which are present in a solution in very small quantities, to separate solutes that can be dissolved in the same solvent. And this chromatography is mainly used to separate mixture of inks. So if you have mixed different inks, easily you can separate those inks. So if you have mixed red color, blue color, green color, blue and green, automatically you can separate that red, blue, green, etc. by doing this method, by applying this method, that is chromatography, and principles of chromatography. This method of separation is based on the fact that though two substances are dissolved in the same solvent, but their solubilities can be different. When you are mixing two substances in a same solvent, one substance will have one solubility, another substance will have another capacity of solubility. Depending upon the solubility, that will separate. The components which is more soluble, that will rise faster and get separated from the mixture. Here you can observe, this is the diagram where you have taken mixture of ink. Consider that yellow color, blue color, red color we have mixed. Yellow which is there in round shape, and red which is there in square shape, blue which is there in small dot shape. If you have added in a same mixture, same solvent, that is water, automatically after some time you can observe blue will be settled here, red will be settled at this height, and yellow will be settled at this height. Like that, depending upon its solubility, that colors will separate, and all colors will not have same solubility and same strength. Different colors will have different solubilities and different strengths. And application, where we can use this one, separating colors, separating color components of a dye. From a dye, if you want to separate two colors, you can use this one. And drugs from blood, so they will take one small strip of paper and they will drop one blood drop. Here that blood drop will be mixture of drug and blood. So after dropping it, consider will be in a red color. After dropping it, they will keep it in a solution. After some time you can observe automatically that drug will be collected here, and they will take this drug for lab test, and easily they can identify what is that drug. Like that we can separate one liquid from another liquid. That depends on its density, at the same time that depends on its solubility. Blood has separate solubility, that drug has separate solubility, like that we can separate it. Method. If you want to try this one, you can do this experiment. Take a filter paper or blotting paper and place drop of ink at the rear end. At the end you can drop one ink and dip the end in water. Since ink is a mixture of two or more colors, the components of ink which is soluble in water mixes into it and then separate it quickly from other components which are less soluble in water. You can take a strip, you can add one ink here. Consider you can add ink which is combination of two or more colors. After adding, if you keep it near the water, I mean like this, in a beaker, take some amount of water and you can keep one strip inside it. After keeping, you can observe one color will be here and another color may rise up here and another color will come here and some other color will be here. Like that, you can separate colors from the ink. Well, coming to another method, that is distillation, which you have already learned in your 8th class. It is quite simple. This method is used to separate mixture, solid in a liquid. It is the process of heating the liquid to form vapor and then cooling vapor to get back the liquid. You see, it is used to separate components of mixture of two miscible liquids. Miscible liquids in the sense solutions which are combined together and which can be mixed thoroughly. Now, you can take example of this one. This is a beaker, round bottom flask we'll call. Here we can add mixture of salt and water. This is salt water and try to heat that water by using Bunsen burner. We know if you heat, nothing will happen for this salt, but while coming to water, automatically water will vaporize. You can observe that water vapors are rising up here and automatically that is passed through this nozzle and that water will enter into this chamber where this is known as condenser, and that vapors will move out to the condenser. Again, if you are cooling this condenser, first of all here water will be in liquid state, it has become gaseous state, that gaseous state is flowing here, again after cooling that gaseous state again it will become liquid state. Here completely we can remove water and at last you can observe all salt particles will be present inside this beaker. Like that we can separate salt and water from it. Same diagram. So round bottom flask, here not only salt and water. So I told you solid plus liquid. Not only solid and liquid guys, you can use liquid plus liquid mixture also to separate by using this distillation. Let us take an example of mixture of acetone and water. Acetone will be in liquid state, water will be in liquid state, and both are liquids. If you are heating, automatically acetone will rise up because acetone has a high boiling point, and because of temperature that acetone will rise up and that acetone vapors will enter into this condenser. If you cool, automatically that acetone drops, you can observe, and total acetone can be collected here and water can be collected here because both boiling points are different. Principles. How it works. The volatile liquid evaporates on heating. That is the principle behind this distillation process, which can be recovered by cooling its vapor by process of condensation. By using condenser, they will do condensation. So first liquids can be converted into gases, again gases can be converted into liquids. Liquids can be converted into gases by heating and gases can be converted to liquids by cooling. And applications where we can use in our daily life. If you wanna separate acetone and water, this you can do it. It is used to remove salt from seawater to obtain drinking water. we can use this distillation method. And methods: the mixture is heated in distillation apparatus. The one substance with lower boiling point evaporates first and condensed to get separated from higher boiling point. If you are taking acetone and water, this has lower boiling point. Because of the lower boiling point, first acetone will rise up. Because of higher boiling point, water will settle down. Of course, if you increase the temperature, automatically water also will evaporate. And there are two types of distillation: simple distillation and fractional distillation. Till now we have discussed about simple distillation. When the miscible liquids have satisfactory difference in their boiling points, I mean simply to say, if you are using only two liquids or solid plus liquid combination, you can go with simple distillation. While coming to fractional distillation, if you are adding 3 or more liquids, if you take a mixture which contains 3 or more components, you can go with fractional distillation. That let us learn now. While coming to fractional distillation, I told you if you are mixing 3 or more components, then fractional distillation. In the name itself we have fractional. In mathematics you have learned about fractions. So fractions, you can take it like 2 by 3, 1 by 3, 2 by 5, etc. 2 parts out of 5 parts, 1 part out of 3 parts, like that. You can remove it. You can take example, this one, same round bottom flask. You can take mixture which contains 3 components. Example, first heat this mixture at one certain temperature, let us say 20 degrees Celsius. Because of low boiling point, that liquid will evaporate and 2 liquids will be remaining in the beaker. Again increase the temperature to 40 degrees Celsius, that second liquid will evaporate and 1 liquid will be settled in the beaker. Like that, you can keep on increasing the temperature. At one stage you will get 1 liquid, at other temperature you will get another liquid, and at other temperature you will get another liquid. Like that, by increasing the temperatures, you can get different liquids from the mixture. That is known as fractional distillation. And in that you need to learn about fractionating column. The apparatus used in the process is similar to the simple distillation. So in fractional distillation, what apparatus we are using? In simple distillation, same apparatuses we are using. Expect a fractionating column which is fitted in between distillation flask and condenser. So in between distillation flask and condenser, we'll use fractionating air column. And what is the use of that one? In the sense, in a simple fractionating column is a tube packed with glass beads. That beads provide surface for the vapors to cool and condense repeatedly. Here if you observe, there will be beads present, and because of the beads, automatically it will rise here, and after cooling that liquid will settle here again, that will pass through this tube. That is the only simple extra fitting is added, that is fractionating column. Now let us try to understand what is the principle of fractional distillation. It is quite simple. In a mixture of 2 or more miscible liquids, the separation of various liquids depends on their boiling points. So consider there are 4 liquids in a mixture, 1, 2, 3, 4. First liquid will evaporate at 20 degrees Celsius, second will evaporate at 40 degrees Celsius, third liquid may evaporate at 60 degrees Celsius, and fourth liquid may evaporate at 100 degrees Celsius, just slightly by increasing temperature to 20. You see, at 20 only first liquid will evaporate, 2, 3, 4 liquids will be settling in the beaker. And if that liquid is completely extracted, you can rise to 40 degrees Celsius. You can separate this second liquid and we will be left with 3 and 4 liquids. And if you increase temperature to 60 degrees Celsius, that liquid can be evaporated, and then fourth liquid you can increase the temperature or you can collect in the beaker itself. Here the liquid having lower boiling point boils first. So liquid, whatever it is having a lower boiling point, boils first and can be obtained first from the fractionating column, and then the liquid is having higher boiling point. You see that first liquid has 20 degrees Celsius, the lower boiling point will boils first, that can be obtained first. And applications in our daily life where we can use that one. It is used to separate mixture of miscible liquids like alcohol and water mixture. Same in simple distillation technique you can use. If you mix alcohol and water, if you want to separate alcohol and water, just you can heat it at some particular temperature. This alcohol can be evaporated. You can collect that alcohol separately. It is used to separate crude oil, petroleum, CRUDE, crude oil, petroleum into useful fractions like kerosene, petrol, diesel, etc. From crude oil, by doing fractional distillation, at one temperature we will get kerosene, at another temperature we will get petrol, at some other temperature we will get diesel. Like that can be separated. It is used to separate different gases from air by taking the liquid air. So you see this diagram. You are taking that air which is sent inside, and by using high pressure that air can be converted into liquid, which we have learned in chapter 1. Gases can be converted into liquid by applying pressure. Automatically that is cooled, and then which is sent to the compressed air is allowed to expand. The air is liquefied. So here that air will expand and which is sent to this one, and here they will heat at different temperatures. Because of different temperatures, you see at minus 190 degrees we will get nitrogen, at minus 185 we will get liquid oxygen. We can separate different gases. So from air we can separate nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, helium, etc. by using fractional distillation. So method, fractional distillation, just we can compress and cool the air by increasing the temperature and decreasing the pressure. Automatically air turns into liquid. Just if you increase the temperature and decrease the pressure, that air which is in gaseous state will be converted into liquid. Next, liquid air is warmed up slowly. If you heat that, what will happen? In fractional distillation chamber, automatically several components of air like oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen can be separated and are collected at various heights on basis of their boiling points. Oxygen may have separate boiling point, hydrogen will have another boiling point, nitrogen will have some other boiling point. Next, last method, crystallization. Crystallization is a process used to separate pure solid from crystals from a solution. If there is a solution, from the solution if you want to extract pure solid, this crystallization is used. The process involves cooling a hot concentrated solution of substance to obtain crystals. It is simple method. Here in the crystallization method we can obtain a pure solid in the form of crystals from its solution. You see crystallization, we have a diagram, just we can observe. Step 1. You can take one solvent and you can add one impure solid. If you are adding impure solid, try to stir it and dissolve. Now the impure solid is dissolved in solvent. You have taken water, you have added some impure solid, you have stirred it, automatically total impure solid is dissolved. Step 2, just you can heat that one. The solution is heated to evaporate most of the solvent. Now total water, not total water, most of the water will be evaporated out and there will be that impure substance left. Step 3, the hot solution is allowed to cool. The solid appears as pure crystals. Here water will carry all the impurities and water along with impurities will evaporate, will vaporized at the same time. That pure substance, pure crystals will be obtained at the bottom of the beaker. Step 4, you can use filter paper. The cold solution is poured off to obtain the crystals. The crystals may be dried by pressing them between sheets of filter paper. Like that, we can use steps to separate pure crystals from impure crystals. First, add those impure crystals in water and stir it. Next, try to evaporate it. Try to heat that one, and total water will be evaporated, and we'll left with only pure crystals. Again, you can filter that one, you can get pure crystals from impure solid. Applications where it is used: purification of common salt obtained from seawater. You can use this technique to get pure common salt. To obtain crystals of alum from impure samples. Alum is a substance where it is used to clean the water. To obtain pure copper sulfate from impure sample. If you want to separate copper, CuSO4 crystals, pure copper sulfate crystals, you can use this technique. Method. If you want to use this method, you can go with this one. The impurities of substance are filtered out. Water is evaporated to obtain the saturated solution. The saturation is covered with the filter paper. After some time, the crystals of pure substance and pure solids are formed. Now, last topic in this video is evaporation better than crystallization? Here, simple evaporation is not better than crystallization because some solid substances decompose because excess of heat. So always we should not heat the substance. You see, sugar gets charred on extra heating. You can think that if you heat the substance and if you get the solids, it is not possible to do that one. So always we should not go with evaporation. Evaporation is not better than crystallization. So if you heat that solid substances, again it will decompose. So we should not heat it. If after filtration some impurities remain in the solution, they can contaminate the solid and therefore we would not obtain pure substance. For example, if you have any impure substance, first if you mix that impure with water and you will get impure solution, you should not heat much. You need to heat such that that water should evaporate. And always evaporation we should not go with. And second one, that filter. After the filtration, there will be some impurities. That impurities, because of presence of impurities, that will contaminate total solid. Hence, we cannot get pure substance from the crystallization. So, these are the topics of separation techniques. Here we have learned separation techniques of homogeneous mixtures and separation techniques of heterogeneous mixtures. In our next video, we'll try to understand what is meant by element, component, molecule and compounds once again, such that next video will be the last video to complete this chapter. So guys, if you feel this video is informative, you can share this video to your friends, share it and subscribe to this YouTube channel such that you will get more and more videos. Till then, bye, have a nice day.